admittedly struggled for wins in phase number 1. It's not like they've just popped off here, but this is a chance for them to pick up a 4th series victory here, and to do so with Fury coming over the leadership that he's brought. We'll see if that's going to be enough as we do get to the bans. The Medivh, the usual suspect with Genji on the other side. Sergeant Hammer. No Tomorrow will have their chance at first pick, so see if they put the burden to ban Sergeant Hammer on LFM.
If they don't, or if they do that, expect something more like the Maev to be taken off here. That or maybe another support choke that they were looking for, but that's giving way too much pressure to LFM to call them out and essentially self-support choke. Gonna go with the Abathur instead, worried about some of the macro threat. LFM, is it the Hammer? I really want it to be the Hammer.
I mean, the one thing about Hammer is it functions very well with a Deckard Kane, and we know that's kind of where it comes in. It's like, how can you kill this? But now that Tyrande is in the mix, Dreadnought, you can't just say, all right, well, if we give up Sergeant Hammer, we'll just get Deckard on the other side and deny that from the Hammer, because now you're giving up something. Like, you have to give up a Tyrande or a Deckard to deal with that.
And we haven't seen it yet, but I'd be willing to argue eventually that will be a realistic problem that hits. And you know what the answer will be? Better synergy between BFG follow-ups to Lunar Flares. Like, you'll just start seeing the Tyrande pick up even with that and be just like, okay, well, you know, Hammer, Tyrande maybe not function at the same play, which, by the way, I have a lot to say about this pick already. You know what? Screw my theory crafting that I had before. We're going to get right into this. No Tomorrow going with the Yrel. They are terrified of swaps on that hero. I feel like that is a clear, we need to get swaps away from the Yrel. He is way too big of an impact for the synergies of LFM. And if I'm LFM in game 3 and I see that Yrel first pick in this type of circumstance, man, I have already got this game won. You are diverting so heavily from the traditional approach.
But now LFM, they don't pick up the Hammer. But Garrosh, you mentioned it when I was bringing up the Garrosh potential in the last draft, was Garrosh does well to protect Hammer, but this was the battleground where Sergeant Hammer was introduced. We are going to skip on Sergeant Hammer all the way into the second ban phase. This is surprising, but this was mid-season brawl. Rich from Genji says, you know what, Sergeant Hammer versus Garrosh Volskaya, let's go. And the world has changed for the last 4 to 5 months. And Hammer's ignored for now.
For better or for worse, though, JL.
No comment.
No comment. That's how I feel as well.
We got Sergeant Hammer changes coming soon.
I'm excited. Ban out, will it be the Hammer? Nope, JoJo. Understandably so, though. Johanna works really well, not only against the Tyrande, but with the Garrosh threat, kill potential across the board. And there we see the Sergeant Hammer removal. Guess it was a little, you know, weird to think that LFM would commit to that ban, knowing that they get the next 2 pickups here. But I do really like that Johanna ban.
We saw the Jaina last game, and somebody had asked me a couple of days ago, they're like, what hero are you surprised that we haven't seen lately? I'm like, man, Jaina was such a staple for a long time. It's just kind of the meta shifted around her. We saw it last game. Li Ming comes into play, Tassadar.
Double support, but in a different direction.
That means we're getting either a Vala, which can do some serious damage, and we've seen some Valas start to creep in lately, or a Tracer.
I wouldn't put it past the option of a Greymane too, but I do agree with you. One of those two is going to be a little bit more likely. But you need some form of a hyper carry through consistent DPS, and every one of those will be able to perform under that avenue.
Ooh, there's also the chance Cassia. Ooh,
Not
unless
anymore.
that's denied. That will deny some auto attacks. Very good pickup there.
No Greymane anymore. Vala is still an option. Tracer is appealing, but not
anymore.
So much. But I don't know if I prefer the Tracer over the Vala in this type of situation. Looking at raw DPS, I like the Vala a little bit more. But when looking at the kill potential and dealing with the Cassia, I actually like Tracer more. Even though it's a bad matchup, I mean, Tracer can at least dash out once Cassia blinds. Vala just goes, do I have Vault? Because if not, I'm probably dead.
Though even the pickup at the end of that with the Muradin. Muradin has block at level 1, so you have a lot of defensive tools to deal with that. So nice draft in the last few picks for No Tomorrow to try and counter the inevitable. The minute you show a Tassadar, you know it's auto attacks coming behind that. Very rarely do we see Tassadar without an auto attacker to just, you know, get that natural synergy going. So the Vala pick, we've seen Vala start to creep up Dreadnought, and Vala at times has looked pretty fantastic. Crowin the other day, we've seen Fan on it a few weeks ago. There's been some players that are just like, look, give me a chance, because Vala still has that damage output that in her role. The problem with Vala is that her health bar A little lower than most other heroes, which is why the Tassadar comes in.
Yeah, it's low enough that it puts you at a lot of people can one-shot you. A lot of people can
even a
one-shot
Muradin.
you. Yeah, I mean, but Muradin, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if that's fair. He can
Stacked
do that.
Muradin at level 1.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's likely going block here, I would assume.
I think that could be the case, but when I look at a double support, am I trying to out-sustain you, or am I trying to kill you faster than you kill me? I look at that trade-off and I go, I do agree with the sustain of the block, especially around Volskaya, around those points. It might trade off in the early game, but as the game moves on, you're going to out-sustain me. You're going to out-damage me. So I feel like I might need the Storm Bolt.
Let's find out. It's time to get game number 3 started. No Tomorrow LFM. Muradin will go neither.
Double survivability.
He's going to go third wind instead. Cassia contemplating the level 1. Do we get charged strikes? Do we get the Thunderstroke? Or the elusive Seraph's Hymn? Even a Rainer waiting. Maybe they're just chilling. Ace in the hole so strong.
Ace in the hole's the selection. Still questioning on Cassia.
If it was going to be Thunder Fury, well, you just missed out on a stack there.
It's going to be charged strikes.
Yeah.
We're good.
NTTN. See, they're repping their sprays, Dreadnought.
Yeah. They know what's up. Chinese fans here. No Tomorrow. Clear over the wave. Pretty much dead even. I think if I give an upper hand to anybody on that for the fact that it went dead even is LFM, just based on No Tomorrow wants to kill right now. They are definitely able to, with Jace Rite on that Cassia, take a lot of positive trades. So if LFM can just keep tempo dead even, they're very thankful for that in the laning phase.
One thing that always intrigues me is a Cassia into a Garrosh. If you make it to 20, your auto attack's going to go armor. But everything before that, Cassia has one of the weirder auto attack ranges. We thought Tychus was weird for a long time at 4.5. Cassia's at 4. It almost feels like you're in melee range to auto attack as a Cassia, so there's always a give and take. Her damage output, incredibly high. But then I think about Groundbreaker range that I could potentially get caught in by a Garrosh. That's what always terrifies me as a Cassia into a Garrosh, and knowing that Fury is on that Garrosh, see if he just smells blood in the water whenever he sees that Cassia step forward, and if he can capitalize on that.
With the Yrel armor provided, though, it might be enough to be able to kind of death ball in, even with the Garrosh taunt coming out. I don't know, I do share a lot of the same concerns, mainly just because knowing there's a double support. I look at this comp and I go, no Tomorrow, Cassia or not, if you can't kill this Vala, I'm not sure that the blind is going to be that relevant. I think it's going to be, other than maybe droplets overextending on the Vala and then getting baited into a blind circumstance and then you turn around, he's not under that much threat throughout this game. Yrel is going to be sitting back with the Rainer, making sure he's just fine, along with the white main. And I'm not sure Cassia has the gap-closing initiation to be that big of a threat, because though Vala is one of the few hyper carries, one of the biggest differences from her and a lot of sustained DPS is she has the escape tool. She has the opportunity to vault out. And even though this isn't the build we're seeing, you have the opportunity to get multiple vaults if you want, with the reset onto the auto attack kill, something we've seen in the past on Battlegrounds like Infernal Shrines.
That actually brings up a very interesting point, the Death Dealer, and it empowers your next auto. If it wasn't, so we've seen Hanzo's level 4 where it's instant kill. He doesn't have to do anything, he just has to auto attack them. And then he gets the increased range. Vala's functions a little differently, gets that bonus damage. That is a very interesting point when we talk about control points. I don't think we'll see that, but it does bring up an interesting thing of, could this work? I would love to see it.
I've actually really liked it in double support situations, just because if you ever get a double auto or double vault proc, you are really becoming overly problematic. The problem is a lot of Vala's level 7 involves a lot of damage output. And so you lose a lot of that. You become way more auto attack centric, and because we do have the Hot Pursuit mixed with the level 4 grenade talent, I don't think it's going to be the selection. You see Droplets calling out Akaphase right there, saying if
you really want to do this?
Yeah, if you don't have the Inquisition plus the Zeal passive on top of you, you're not going to be too threatening.
I know Droplets loves Vala. I think it might be one of his favorite heroes. I saw some interactions recently where he was talking about this hero. So this is a hero that he's been wanting to play, is getting the opportunity there. I still remember it was BlizzCon 2016. I'm riding in the van as Fury taking some pressure here. Hold on a second. Saki was like, I've been practicing this one talent. I was like, we're going to see later. He's like, I've been practicing this one talent. He's like, it's undefeated in scrims. Nobody can stop it. I'm like, what is it? He said, Death Dealer. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And so at the time, even then, it was one of those high risk, high rewards, and we saw some other players at that BlizzCon try and work around that as well.
Both teams here, though, ball control point A, 75% in favor of LFM. Casanova trying to get some percentage now. This Fury's kind of doing his best to toe the line there. Turret picked up from both sides. Now the clash. Turret's just about to come off cooldown. Once that happens, expect LFM to move up. There she goes.
The contention is here. Droplets gets the shield, move forwards. He's got Shrite in his sights, also tags Akaface there on Whitemane, but now Shrite returning damage. Down comes the turret, will force No Tomorrow back as Fury and team work their way forward, and Droplets making moves, Dreadnought.
Yeah, able to kite out there for a moment. Nice penetrating round coming in, hitting Droplets. He's going to fall pretty low there as the Lunar Flare actually raw and going to land onto Tomser. He heals up with his E there. Jin now got to be the focus. Flip over out from Fury, sets Jin up, but he's actually going to just heal the blind coming out from Cassia, getting a great rebuttal here by No Tomorrow as they get more armor out from Jin with that last leaf. Droplets falling very low, and that is a large source of damage for LFM. Overtime is here. Control back in favor of LFM, and now it's going to be the last stand of No Tomorrow.
We're going to see if they can reclaim this point. LFM.
I think they can.
They have the higher health bars. They had the well tap. LFM, they needed to get onto this. There's going to be the charge, the stun, the follow-up. I believe that was into the fray used by Fury to save Droplets, and now that should give the first protector over to No Tomorrow.
And so one thing that we're already noticing here, J-How, is that there is a lot of counter kind of pressure being approached by No Tomorrow by flanking from down below. LFM has got to find a better way to make sure that these double warriors are sitting and zoning off of that threat potential. Raynor got 3 autos and a penetrating round rotation into Vala and had 0 threat from any one of the warriors of LFM. If you're going to commit to that double support of hyper carry Vala within this current meta where macro doesn't stand out in the same way that it does, that kind of stuff really matters here. And it's going to be interesting to see if that continues to be a problem here for LFM. Things moves on.
A 2-person push down here in the bottom. I like this a lot, Dreadnought. They're so close to 10. That protector was still very healthy that they can put a threat onto this top keep. Instead, they got poked down pretty significantly, so they don't get, the top fort. They don't get the top fort. Sometimes we'll see teams commit towards that full push to get that snowball effect because there's so much weighted in that. But with LFM close enough to level 10, I think that they're comfortable with just a slow siege and then setting things up for the later game as well. As Fury just waiting to see if they pop out of this. Here he goes.
Lunar Flare going to land onto one. Groundbreaker going to find Akaface as well. Both of the crowd controls finding the target they want. Is the Aegis is going to be used. 2-man taunt sets up the kill there. And surprisingly enough, first blood of this game, actually. LFM find the first kill. Now back out, look to pick up the support camp. We see Blaze willing to make the rotation all the way from bottom, but with no Akaface, don't know if it's going to be likely. No Tomorrow trying to answer with an invasion of this turret camp. Blaze able to sniff it out.
Yeah, this isn't something, I mean, the fact that Swabs did see that, I mean, if you don't get sniffed out or maybe you have 5 members, you can make that happen, but Whitemane was the one that was still down. Good attempt, unsuccessful, but LFM, they've got the turret and that biotic emitter. Experience throughout all of this still looks fairly even. That top fort, a point of contention as the game goes on for a decent chunk of experience.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see Jay Shrite in his heroic choice. I'm not going to lie, I'm just going to flat say it. Valkyrie is not consistent enough to pulling a target that I do not want to see it. We've seen it here and there in the past, and in my opinion, like though it can be a huge playmaker around bunkers specifically, it just is a bit too kittywampus here for me to want to support it. So I'd like to see the Lightning Bell pick up, but no commitment here yet from Jay Shrite.
There it is. It's locked in. It's going to miss the mark. 60-second cooldown. He'll have another chance at that in a minute. The old Kitty Wampus, taking us back to phase 1 where I got about 1,000 tweets trying to explain to me what Kitty Wampus was. I'm going to be honest with you, Dreadnought, I've already forgotten. There were multiple spellings and everything.
Oh yeah, you know, I definitely don't pronounce the word, I think, accurately, but it's my way, I guess. I don't know how my mom always told it to me. You know, it's going to be all kind of kittywampus. I think it's cattywampus technically. I'm from Kentucky. We say a lot of things the way they're not intended.
Well, as the defense here in the top fort, this looks like it's going to go down. This will propel No Tomorrow towards 13, Dread.
No 13 to set up a Lashes opportunity there. What? Dark Chimera with a 2-man Raw Lunar Flare forcing out the cleanse. Out from No Tomorrow. Akaface and friends are going to now just back out and likely wait out control point B. 13 and 13 is an expected result there, but No Tomorrow has a well advantage in that northern lane.
Always something that's been favorable in every Volskaya game to date. See if they mega prep. I was going to say, are they considering taking another well for a future event? But getting this much down this early, No Tomorrow does find themselves in a good spot. LFM, despite having that one kill, they missed the first protector, haven't been able to do a lot with it. Fortunate for them, though, they're on even talent tiers, so it's just right there as Jin going right in.
Jin taking a lot of damage, actually getting slowed. The Vault, the 3-4-man groundbreaker, 4-man taunt. We said it before, Fury putting the team on his back as everybody gets in the bunker, throws down the flamethrower. Valkyrie just pulling LFM closer to the demise of No Tomorrow. Casanova now trying to get the retreat. Flamethrower thrown down, groundbreaker interrupted there by the Stormbolt. Akaface with a cleanse. But J-How, that was just demolishing from LFM. Though it's only one kill, that was pretty.
Yeah, White Man in that fight, a timely, heroic use, but it still wasn't enough. And then once that bunker dropped down, that bunker, when you get everybody coordinated in that flamethrower, there we go, there's gonna be another setup. But the return, Casanova trying to zone. Jin, he comes in for support Dreadnought, but he does not have an Ardent Defender. Will get the jump out. Fury knows exactly where he's going. Unable to get the follow-up with the Groundbreaker, but he's making plays. Fury's positioning Dreadnought, for me, if LFM closes this out, he has been a stud this series so far, making every what seems like correct play at every turn of the game.
I agree with you. You know, I was going to say earlier that there's been an uncharacteristic amount of misplaced throws on distance from him in this series overall, but that is minor compared to the other areas where he's very much stepping up on his level. And even my complaints with those throws, it's not that they're necessarily bad. They're usually setting up a kill. It's just, is he getting the groundbreaker proc all the time?
Combo.
And even though Fury normally is so clean in that area, I can't help but feel like he's putting, you know, more of the macro sense, a bigger picture into his mind and why he's been able to perform. But a dimensional shift there, as Blaze is going to be late to the fight. No dimensional shift into Valkyrie, pulls back Figgy. A lot of damage in response, and now Blaze is here with the bunker if necessary.
The emitter and the turrets are down for LFM. They hold control of this. Jin and team trying to regroup, try and find their way out. The slow's going to be there. Down comes the ult, in comes the stun. See if Jin can make it out. He gets the jump out in time, but there's the groundbreaker. Oh. There's the toss taunt. There you go. That's exactly what you want. Droplet says, hold on, can we get another? That answer is no, but they got what they came for, and that's going to be the protector.
Now we'll see how much they can make happen here with it. Still another 25 seconds until Urel is going to join. Silver linings here for No Tomorrow is the fact that Ardent Defender will be available for this defense along with the Scarlet Aegis and possibly even that Valkyrie, depending on the rotations that we see LFM make. Looks like top 4 and now race to 16 is the biggest focus. Once the 16 is achieved, I'd like to see LFM focus on bottom lane to better set up for control point C and make sure that they get possibly a keep out of that if they end up leading with that here. But instead, focusing a bit more through mid.
I think they're going to rely on their sheer damage output. They'll have the Tassadar with the Psionic Echo now at 16, adds even extra sieging capabilities. They'll have 40 seconds left on this Protector to try and get this down well minimum as the wall's already prepped. Should be likely they get the well. They would love to get the fort. Still 30 seconds and a pretty healthy Protector right now, Dread.
Yeah, it's going to get a lot of free damage output as well as we see the AoE shielding coming out from that Protector. Akaface under threat, going to eat a lot of damage from the machine gun. Fort going to lie victim at the hands of LFM here in bottom. Still another 10 seconds. At this point, not too much damage is going to happen here, J-How. The biggest question is turret camps afterwards. Is LFM going to be able to pick up and steal No Tomorrows afterwards? I think so here. Still 2 seconds out, and I believe it to be up.
They have 16 tier advantage. They'll take down this turret. All right. So I snuck a peek at some damage numbers, Dreadnought.
Yeah.
I mentioned I'm pretty confident that Droplets has made mention that Vala is one of his favorite heroes. You play double support, you can be a little more aggressive than other heroes.
A little bit, yeah.
Most damage right now for No Tomorrow, 18, 19K for Cassia, right around the same for Raynor.
Okay.
Vala, on the other side, contends with 20K coming out from Tassadar. But Droplets has 54,000 damage by himself.
Hey, you know, I mean, you could say that's pretty good. Hold up here, though. Valkyrie going to be dropped over the support camp. A lot of focus on to follow, but she's absolutely able to make it out there with the save and that vault. First kill on to Urel as Fury now going to flip away with the two-man groundbreaker follow-up. A lot of damage there coming out from Swabs. Jay Shrite is able to make it out here. Tomster trying to kite away. I don't think he'll share the same fate. Hot Pursuit is giving movement speed there. One auto, and that seals the deal here. Two members of No Tomorrow down. Gonna be a third, maybe even a fourth here. Man, LFM is just relentless.
Shrite trying to trade out at best, but in the end, it's 4 members that fell on the side of No Tomorrow. And LFM, with those 4 kills, Dreadnought, and the structures they got down earlier, they can now play towards that 20-tier advantage, towards that next protector, and are just opening this game up, trying to say, you know what, we do control our own fate, and that fate results in a 3-0 as they are on the doorstep of the playoffs. They are getting so close to closing this game out.
They're going to be able to further that distance here, or I guess maybe minimize it that much more with the double sapper, or excuse me, not double sapper, but double camp on the top lane with off lane pressure wall control point C spawns. They already have the biotic emitter, are going to be able to pick up this turret camp in the top right. Maybe, I'm going to say it's unlikely, but possibly even No Tomorrow's camp in a couple of seconds. No Tomorrow, the time frame is closing very rapidly here. And the answer is going to be, I think over that top right camp, they need to get an invade because they just know that LFM picked up the bottom camp. They know the rotation has to be top right now. That's why you see Oracle used by Tassadar. Aka recognizes it. Here's the invade. This is the last stand of No Tomorrow in this game.
Too late for the invade. See if they try and get a flank. They did take down that middle fort earlier. Still in position. Nobody's shown yet. But LFM will not give them the time of day as now the control point, 25 seconds from spawning. And LFM already making the rotation down. The turret camp now available. They are fully loaded. 2 turrets and a helium pulse to go with a 20-tier advantage. 7 kills to 0. It's time.
My question is, who does LFM send back and who do they send to solo cap the point? Because No Tomorrow is going to backdoor top. Honestly, the fact that No Tomorrow didn't pick up their turret camp, I should know that if I'm LFM. LFM is going to try and race. Yeah, this is the second time we've seen LFM do this, and this is another situation where I think No Tomorrow gains more out of this position because No Tomorrow is going to threaten the core afterwards. It's just whether or not they can make the rotation timely enough. It's a tough moment here for No Tomorrow. They're still continuing to all in.
Valkyrie just missed on the Tassadar. Jen doing his best. He's wearing every single shot. The keep. Tomster trying to confirm it, but Tomster now he might get punished. There he's able to walk away. Ardent Defender is out for Urel, but a taunt comes in. 2 members in. They're going to toss in a third as Shrite. He's in a bad spot as Biggie and team move forward. Droplets trying to confirm the kill, but the healing coming out is enough, but the snipe comes in there from Dark Chimera.
Droplets looking to get some Hot Pursuit value there. If he can get a couple auto attacks, that will increase his movement speed there. Got one off, got a second. Gap closer, or excuse me, distance gain now after that penetrating round comes out.
But it's protector time. Fury doesn't care, just misses on the groundbreaker. Stonebolt gonna miss, but a 2-person stun again by Dark Chimera has been enough to lock down another kill. Protector in hot pursuit in that bottom. Bala says, you know what, I am too, let's join them. And now LFM will look to close this series out
and earn their place in the North American playoffs for the first time ever. Having the opportunity, even the opportunity, J-Hal, to be a North American representative at the international stage, and more importantly, the most important tournament of the year, BlizzCon HGC Finals 2018. LFM, in dominant fashion, taking games 1, 2, and 3, finish it up here against No Tomorrow.
The resiliency of this team to never give up, never get down, every time, even in defeat or wins, they always, you'll see their social media that they put out there, you know, tough loss, we're learning, we're continuing to improve. It's always been about progress, progress, progress. Well, they've satisfied that itch right now. Because the other thing about just making it to playoffs, Dreadnought, the one thing about not going to Crucible is you're guaranteed for 2019.
Feels good for all of those members from LFM, especially, keep in mind here, Droplets is new here within this, right? We had Fury come in, but in Droplets, I mean, he is post-MSB, first time ever, and to come in and have that kind of impact, the trust, you know, not that necessarily everything was on the line, but that last game was important, and he is the guy they go to be the hyper carry in a double support composition. I feel like it says a lot towards him as a player, and probably part of the reason we hear so many other teams from all over kind of give some credit here over to him. LFM have done it. Color me impressed.
And I think the impressive part is that sometimes you'll look at matchups and you'll be like, all right, well, one team might be more talented than the other, and they just came out and did what they did, or whether you'll see something. And it's not like No Tomorrow had a bad series.
No.
This speaks volumes about LFM, the way that they played today from the outset with that BOE draft and the center. I was like, man, this is scary. Like, this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
And LFM came out on fire.
No, I think that's very fair to point that out, is that I do not feel like LFM. I feel like LFM maybe overperformed today. I think it was I think it was a mixture of, like, they know that this means so much to them, right? And that it brings that level of, like, threshold here. But then, like, players like, I feel like Fury, you know, with the adjustment of having him coming in and the impact of the leadership on the front line and being able to get them that close to that type of situation, I think it was a mixture of that and plus probably having a pretty good day that allowed them to, I mean, probably perform better than they ever had against any team here in North America. I mean, that was clean in dominant fashion. The only complaints I have is some of the rotations maybe a little bit less optimal, but they were still proactive. And I think that's the biggest key element there that was maybe missing at other areas from them in the series. Or, excuse me, through the season.
Through thick and thin, it's really been about, can Fury get on the heroes and have the impact? And look, this is a full team effort. It's the joy of Heroes of the Storm, is that one person cannot do it alone. A full team is required. But Fury, when he's on the Murden, when he's on the Garage, one of the most threatening players in all of HGC. He has that potential at any given time to say, you know what, I will make this play. You know what? Follow up what I do. There's a whole lot going on this team. Swabs makes plays at time. Dark Chimera has been a diamond in the rough. He's been working through the open division, finds his way up when the Aware dropped out, and that he looks like he's been here forever. No, like, it's crazy.
That is a really good point, because even today, minus, like, if we look at that kill up on top that was happening where they're trying to get the kill, I believe, onto the Blaze, that was actually Dark Chimera was the huge setup for that. And the kill on bottom lane in Towers of Doom, there was another situation where it's like, oh, hey, can we get this? And he sets up another Scroll of Ceiling Lornado combo that goes, we're making a good situation great, and that is because of his impact within the roster there. And so I agree with you. If anything, he's the one that I think I look at the most, and I feel like I've set the bar too high, just purely based on he came in and immediately just looked so good that I'm just like, oh, yeah, you're doing as expected here, not giving him the credit that he is very much like Droplets, you know, one of those younger players.
Somebody who's been around a long time. And on the front line here is Fury. Fury, today you come out, all you had to do is 3-1. You one-upped it. You 3-0'd, and you have qualified for the playoffs, a place that I know that you were striving for this entire phase. How does it feel?
I mean, it feels really good. I know for this team, it meant a lot to, you know, not go into the Crucible and actually have a chance in the playoffs. So I'm really glad, you know, I gave this opportunity to help my team achieve their goal. So I think overall, throughout this whole year, like, we've achieved the goal of making it to playoffs for BlizzCon and seeing how far we can go with those playoffs.
Well, let's talk about this team. We've mentioned it. You come into this team in Phase 2, coming in, trying to be that leader, that face on the front line. Droplets comes in. You guys go through some changes post-Western Clash. You get Dark Chimera. So there's been an overhaul to this roster, and I've heard from you so many times on social media. It's a matter of, look, these hurt, but we're improving. We're playing for the playoffs. You get here. How does it feel knowing that you've gone through so many changes and you get this into a well-rounded part to get this team on the right track?
Yeah, usually when teams make changes, they kind of like fall behind a little bit. But I think with our team, Dark Chimera like really fit in pretty quickly. So he's got the veteran experience, kind of like I do. So he's been around for a long time. So I think his personality really fit our team and our play style. And especially me, like having the tank and support, having the same like aggressive play style, like it really shows off like how well we do. So I'm pretty happy like that we picked up Dark. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how we do in playoffs now.
I'd say aggressive is probably the key word for your style of play, Fury. It worked out today. Congrats on the victory. I'm sending you to Dread.
Thank you.
Fury, you guys have had a really beautiful amount of progress as time has gone on here for this type of roster. And you talked about how this has been a long-standing goal for a long time for especially some of the older members of LFM. What do you think, I guess, the future looks like for you guys when it comes to future goal setting and things that you're going to be doing and aiming? Because obviously something's working behind the scenes for you guys. Maybe a bit slower than you would like, but it's very much happening.
Yeah, so far this after midseason brawl, when we made a change, it's kind of been like a wild roller coaster. Some sets we look good, but then some sets we just get absolutely destroyed, like the one versus Octalysis where we had no idea how to deal with them. But overall, look, going forward, we want to just see how far we can go in the playoffs. You know, if we qualify for BlizzCon, if we go to BlizzCon, you know, I think it's going to be a really hard, like, you know, series against international since we're lacking the experience together as a team. But, you know, if we go to BlizzCon, we'll do our best to work towards, like, you know, not getting absolutely destroyed, just, you know, making it to at least top 8.
And then you being one of the few members on this roster in the past that has been able to compete within the playoff system, do you feel like you have any experience there or even from other experiences that you can maybe use to give guidance here towards the rest of the roster in LFM now, again, doing something that these players have never been able to do before?
Yeah, I think going forward, you know, our roster kind of has nothing to lose. Like, people will just look at us as the underdogs. And if we make upsets, like, that'll feel really good. But if we lose, it's like, it's okay because overall we've made progress throughout the year. But obviously we want to try and fight our hardest for the BlizzCon spot. So we're definitely going to, you know, look at VODs and study for next week. And we're going to see, like, you know, how each series goes. Like, first one is Endemic, I believe. So we're going to be studying and getting ready for Endemic in the playoffs.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in the playoffs here. And before I give you to Jay, I just want to say, I feel like it's very fitting that you have 2 Garrosh posters behind you, especially after that series.
Definitely my favorite hero.
I'm glad you pointed that out. Well, Fury, you already touched on the topic. Playoffs coming up next weekend. You've got, you know, a mindset of what you want to do. Does it feel like you have a shot? I mean, everybody has a shot. But after today, the synergy that you all had, it almost looked like you were on another level. You were out-determined, and you just have to win multiple sets in one weekend. How does it feel? Does this victory give you that confidence going forward just to make sure that you can make that run at the playoffs? Because it's no easy task here in North America.
Yeah, like I said in my interview, I was pretty confident we would 3-0 no tomorrow, just based off the way we've been playing in scrims. And the last time we scrimmed no tomorrow, they seemed like they were struggling. But I think we had an edge with, like, how much we've been practicing and, like, the style we've been adapting to and just, you know, using our aggression to, like, win out the games and close them out.
It's been great to watch, Fury. I know this victory means a lot to you and your team, so congrats on that, and the floor is yours for shout-outs.
Thanks. Shout out to my team. You guys have played amazing. I'm glad, you know, I got picked up and I got to help you guys achieve the goals that you wanted. Shout out to the owner, Steve, our coach, Steve. Shout out to Hannah, who gets us all our scrims. Shout out to my girlfriend, Twitch chat, and shout out to my mom. She's actually watching this match because I told her to, so that's pretty cool. Shout out to you guys. Thank you.
That's awesome, Fury, and congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
Owner Steve, somebody else Steve. I thought he was about to hit me with another Steve there for a second. But LFM, Dread mentioned it, their first time as an organization to come through, find their way out of the Crucible. It's a fun story. No Tomorrow, we knew that they were in Crucible range and in Crucible territory. They'll come back in a few weeks. You know, it's a week after playoffs, so that will be something to keep an eye on. No Tomorrow, it just looked like LFM was the better team in a lot of areas today.
Yeah, they have constantly, as I started in the series, saying that both these teams are on an upward trend. I did not feel like No Tomorrow kind of back down. Maybe at the very end of game number 3, there were moments, but I feel like at that point you could see that they're going, this is falling out of control, like we aren't going to be recovered, right? And I think that is just a bit more emotional play. I don't put that against them at all. I just was, LFM showed up, and I do think that they, again, overperformed based on all those kind of perfect concoction, and they showed up to the call.
Well, our next series doesn't really have playoff implications, but you still get Tempo Storm versus Endemic. It's going to be a fun one, I promise. Stick around for that. We'll be back after this break.
Maybe some Mephisto.
Maybe.
Taronda's good, but she's 10% worse than she used to be, and you're feeling that punch here as a Lunar Flare comes in, and Akaface is the winner with that one. Found himself a nice setup there. Double kill here, picked up now from LFM. LFM aggressive forward here as the Stormbolt lands.
The minute 16, they're going all in. Bunker already down, and that thing is dropping. Swap's putting himself in a very good position to try and knock them back. Jin, he's stuck by himself. He's going to be taken down, but Fury says we are not done yet. As Akaface, he's going to be locked down on the back, and Fury and team just exploded
in this siege.
Here we go, no Tomorrow picked up 16 for the defense. Dragon Arrow eaten by Swabs, and there's the stage dive in. The coordination just off, and that's takedown number 1 onto ETC. The Immortal doing his job to zone out a few others. Akaface, he's keeping everybody alive for now, but the follow-up is going to be there. Tomster goes down. Akaface the third. Shrite just trying to stay alive. Fury says, where are you going? Come on back here. That's 4. Let's make it 5 and maybe find another opportunity. All the cooldowns, all the heroics are off cooldown again. So we see the teams engaging here on the bottom altar.
Biggie just used a self-cleanse, so he's in a bad spot. There's the Stormbolt. Jet Propulsion is not going to land. It actually does connect as Fury gets it into the fray. Flip over. Combos coming through here, but LFM lose 2 members. Ardent Defender are going to be dropped as the Lunar Flare comes through. Stun follow-up is the damage there. Jet Propulsion, scroll the ceiling, and 3 for nothing. So we got this middle. All right, Swabs on an island for now. Fury threatening off here. Keep in mind, he has no time. He's not the same threat that he normally would be, but Casanova has to pop his avatar and door toss out.
He's alive for now, but there's the Ring of Frost landing on the 2 members. They're trying to counter with that as the Sunder comes out. That's going to be Jaina the first to fall, and somehow